LX 1026 expect ILS approach 23L Düsseldorf approach. LX 1026 runway 23L cleared to land, Düsseldorf approach. Düsseldorf approach runway 23L cleared to land, LX 1026. LX 1026 contact tower at 118.10, Düsseldorf approach. Düsseldorf approach Roger, switching to tower at 118.10, LX 1026. US 156, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Düsseldorf Tower. Düsseldorf Tower Roger, cleared for takeoff runway 23R US 156. Düsseldorf approach, Ju 324 information Delta. Ju 324 expect ILS approach 23L Düsseldorf approach. Düsseldorf approach holding as published Ju 324. Düsseldorf approach, LH 2020 information Delta. LH 2020 expect ILS approach 23L Düsseldorf approach. LH 2020 runway 23L cleared to land, Düsseldorf approach. X 1448, ready to start up. Düsseldorf approach runway 23L cleared to land, LH 2020. LH 2739, ready to start up. LH 2020 contact tower at 118.70, Düsseldorf approach. Düsseldorf approach Roger, switching to tower at 118.70, LH 2020. KL 1862, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Düsseldorf Tower. Düsseldorf approach, LS 347 information Delta. Düsseldorf startup, this is X 1448, position B115, information Yankee, IFR Tabara Yaz, request startup. Düsseldorf startup, this is LH 2739, position B51, information Yankee, IFR to München France Joseph Strauss, request startup. LS 347 expect ILS approach 23L Düsseldorf approach. X 1448, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Düsseldorf startup control. Düsseldorf approach holding as published LS 347. LH 2739, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Düsseldorf startup control. Dusseldorf approach, OK 526 information Delta. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, X1448. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, LH2739. OK 526 expect Hills approach 23L Dusseldorf approach. Dusseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, X1448. OK 526 runway 23L cleared to land, Dusseldorf approach. Dusseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, LH2739. Dusseldorf startup, with you, X1448. Dusseldorf startup, with you, LH2739. Dusseldorf approach runway 23L cleared to land, OK 526. X1448, Roger, Dusseldorf startup. LH2739, Roger, Dusseldorf startup. OK 526 contact tower at 119.70, Dusseldorf approach. Dusseldorf approach Roger, switching to tower at 119.70, OK 526. Dusseldorf startup, request pushback, X1448. Dusseldorf startup, request pushback, LH2739. X1448, pushback approved, Dusseldorf startup. LH2739, pushback approved, Dusseldorf startup. Dusseldorf ground, ready to taxi, X1448. X1448, cleared to taxi, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, cleared to taxi, X1448. Dusseldorf ground, ready to taxi, LH2739. LH2739, cleared to taxi, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, cleared to taxi, LH2739. IP 3133, ready to start up. X1448, hold position, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, holding position, X1448. Dusseldorf startup, this is IP 3133, position B1 information Yankee, IFR to Barajas, request startup. IP 3133, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Dusseldorf startup control. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, IP 3133. Dusseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, at 3133. Dusseldorf startup, review, at 3133. At 3133, Roger, Dusseldorf startup. Dusseldorf startup, request pushback, at 3133. At 3133, pushback approved, Dusseldorf startup. Dusseldorf ground, ready to taxi, at 3133. At 3133, clear to taxi, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, clear to taxi, at 3133. X1448, resume taxiing, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, continuing taxi, X1448. Car Indian 3504, ready to start up. Dusseldorf startup, this is car Indian 3504, position B29, information Yankee, IFR2 admin Menders, request startup. Car Indian 3504, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Dusseldorf startup control. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, car Indian 3504. Düsseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, car Inden 3504. Düsseldorf startup, with you, car Inden 3504. Car Inden 3504, Roger, Düsseldorf startup. Düsseldorf startup, request pushback, car Inden 3504. Car Inden 3504, pushback approved, Düsseldorf startup. Düsseldorf ground, ready to taxi, car Inden 3504. Car Inden 3504, clear to taxi, Düsseldorf ground. Düsseldorf ground, clear to taxi, car Inden 3504. IT 3133, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Düsseldorf Tower. Tunair 527, ready to start up. Astute 12, ready to start up. LH2735, ready to start up. Düsseldorf startup, this is Tunair 527, position B23, information Yankee, IFR to your Bazaars, request startup. Düsseldorf startup, this is Astute 12, position A1, information Yankee, IFR to Windshear, request startup. Düsseldorf startup, this is LH2735, position B28, information Yankee, IFR to München France Joseph Strauss, request startup. Tunair 527, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Düsseldorf startup control. LH2735, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Düsseldorf startup control. Astute 12, startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Dusseldorf startup control. X1448, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Dusseldorf Tower. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Tunair 527. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, Astute 12. Dusseldorf startup approved, Yankee correct, runway 23R, fly runway heading squawk 163, for pushback and taxi clearance call 121.90, LH2735. Dusseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, Tunair 527. Dusseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, Astute 12. Dusseldorf startup, switching to 121.90, LH2735. Dusseldorf startup, with you, LH2735. Dusseldorf startup, with you, Tunair 527. Tunair 527, Roger, Dusseldorf startup. Dusseldorf startup, with you, Astute 12. Astute 12, Roger, Dusseldorf startup. LH2735, Roger, Dusseldorf startup. Dusseldorf startup, request pushback, Tunair 527. Dusseldorf startup, request pushback, LH2735. Dusseldorf startup, request pushback, Astute 12. Tunair 527, pushback approved, Dusseldorf startup. Dusseldorf approach, BA 3277 information Delta. Astute 12, pushback approved, Dusseldorf startup. LH2735, pushback approved, Dusseldorf startup. Corrinden 3504, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Dusseldorf Tower. BA 3277 expect ILS approach 23L Dusseldorf approach. Dusseldorf ground, ready to taxi, Tunair 527. BA 3277 runway 23L cleared to land, Dusseldorf approach. Tunair 527, cleared to taxi, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf approach runway 23L cleared to land, BA 3277. Dusseldorf ground, cleared to taxi, Tunair 527. BA 3277 contact tower at 118.08, Dusseldorf approach. Dusseldorf ground, ready to taxi, Astute 12. Astute 12, cleared to taxi, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, cleared to taxi, Astute 12. Dusseldorf ground, ready to taxi, LH2735. Dusseldorf approach Roger, switching to tower at 118.08, BA 3277. LH2735, cleared to taxi, Dusseldorf ground. Dusseldorf ground, cleared to taxi, LH2735. Tuner 527, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Dusseldorf Tower. LH2735, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Dusseldorf Tower. LH2022, expect ILS approach 23L Dusseldorf approach. LH2022, runway 23L cleared to land, Dusseldorf approach. Astute 12, cleared for takeoff runway 23R Dusseldorf Tower. Dusseldorf approach runway 23L cleared to land, LH2022 contact Dusseldorf tower at 118.70, Dusseldorf